Harriman State Park is certainly the best cross-country ski area in southeast Idaho. The trails are well groomed, the views are beautiful, and there's so many different varieties of trails you can take. You can spend all day skiing there and not see the same tree twice. Thurmon is on Highway 20 between Idaho Falls and West Yellowstone. It's an island park which is known for having lots of deep, fresh powder. So the beginning of the big loop at Harriman State Park begins at the Muir Trail. And it's just a short little bit until we get to the river. It's a nice little warm-up. I see some geese flying. It's a beautiful day. Look at the sun strikes. One thing I love about Harriman State Park is these maps, and they're everywhere, so you can't get lost. So we're starting right here. We're going to go around the edge, and then we're going to take the Silver Lake Trail, and then we're going to head all the way out to Golden Lake, and then come back along the edge. The Muir Trail is always a good place to start in Harriman. It leads right out of the parking lot, and it has some really great views right next to the river where a bunch of waterfowl are. I pretty much always start this way, whether it's in the winter on cross-country skis or if it's in the summer on my mountain bike. One thing I love about Harriman is that even in the depths of winter, there's all this clear water and all these waterfowl. You have ducks, you have geese, you have all kinds of migrating birds. It never fails to impress, and it's always so beautiful. Definitely worth a stop. Okay, so that's the end of the Muir portion of our ski today. And now we're gonna go into the Silver Lake Trail. And this is definitely more demanding, but it's still just tons of fun, and it's definitely worth it. Now, Silver Lake, well, it's looking kind of white right now, but in the summertime, obviously, this is a fairly good sized lake. Some people say the Silver Lake Trail is the hardest bit, and some people even avoid it. And I can understand that. There's a couple ups and downs, but really the consequences are kind of low. Your speeds are slow, and if you kind of hit the snowbank, it's not a big deal. But I kind of like coming around this way because you have views of the lake and because it's not very well traveled. Oftentimes this is groomed for fat bikes in the winter. It says more difficult and most difficult. That's totally a relative term. I'll show you the most difficult part in a minute here. And you can totally walk it. It's just one little section. For a brief moment, the Silver Lake Trail exits Harriman State Park and enters the National Forest. You can't really tell the difference. The trail is obvious, but even if you came in a blizzard or fresh snow, you see those little reflectors. There's always a reflector in sight, which will show you to the next trail. All right, so we've got to the steepest part of the trail, and let's even get a good fail video. Sometimes it's a little bit too steep to just push up, so I have to scissor my way up. There's a couple little hills like that. It's not too bad. There we go. That's the top of it. At the end of the Silver Lake Trail, then we're going to start with some groomed trails. And you can see the groomer came through just a little bit before me. And it's absolutely beautiful. And this groomed trail is going to go right along the edge of the hill here. If you want something a little more spicy, you can hang a left and go straight up that hill to an overlook, which is really great. But on cross-country skis, it's probably a bit much for most people. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Look at that. So nice.
So many options, but fortunately we have a map for each one of them. We're heading out to Golden Lake. Okay, we're coming across perhaps the steepest part of the entire trip here, and that's going up this little hill here. You can push off it, or you can scissor up it. I'm thinking I'm just gonna push up it, but you can see coming down, if we're going the other way, you have a long run out, so it's super safe. Okay, so this is the Ridge Trail, and I've gone up that once with skis, and it wasn't the most fun. I mean, it was definitely possible, but there's better trails to do for sure. Here we are at intersection 18. I was coming up this hill on my mountain bike about 2.5 years ago during the summer. I was in the morning all by myself. I was making noise and everything. And then right over there, I heard a branch break, and just between those two far trees, this grizzly bear was running straight for me. And I hightailed it down this trail, but I had to stop because it was gaining on me, and I stood my ground. And fortunately, the grizzly bear decided not to eat me. But yeah, I always pause a minute here at number 18. Be alert. Yeah, no kidding. This is one of those fast downhills that have a long run out. So you go pretty quick, but it's not particularly scary. Oh, there we go. Get going. Yeah. Lots of fun. Oh, until I have to go back uphill again. Looks like someone came around the corner a little too fast and biffed it right there. Luckily, snow is soft. So this is the Golden Lake overview, and that's the Golden Lake Dam you see across the way there. It's frozen over, of course, because there's no movement from the water, so the freezing water will get it. But in the summer, this is packed with wildlife, and they have a little high ridge here, so you can come up and view the wildlife without seeing them, without them seeing you, so you won't disturb them. All right, this is the turnaround point. We're going to head back.
From Golden Lake, you have two options. You can head out into the meadows, which is really nice and groomed, or you can head back in the trees, which I prefer because I think in the snow, the trees are prettier.
Okay, so I'm going down that little bit. We saw someone biff it earlier, or tracks for it anyway. Let's see how that goes. Putting on the brakes, making the corner, no problem. All right. I think we have one more descent coming up here. This one is going to have a long run out, won't have that nasty corner, so it should be a lot more straightforward. Here we go. Yes. Woohoo! There we are. That was fun. Here we're back at 18, which is where the bear kind of stood me down. It chased me down this trail a little bit. I'm going to say maybe 100 yards before I realized I couldn't get away. And then I dismounted the bike, held it over my head, yelled, "Bear!" And that grizzly bear stopped and just stared at me for a while, about 20 seconds before letting me go. I was lucky. I think I'll pop by a little yurt here and have my lunch in warmth.
Yeah, once again, from the yurt, I have two options. I can head out into the meadows again, or I can stay in the trees, and, you know, I like the trees.
That was a fine lunch. Shared it with a family from Idaho Falls. Now I'm going to begin my adventure again. Okay, now I'm descending down to the bridge. And this bridge gives me a choice because there's 4 excellent ways to go from here. I can head to the right, head back up towards Silver Lake. I can head to the left, which is going to take me back to the village, or I can go across along Silver Lake the other way. Oh, what a beautiful day. Look at that, the sun's peeking out. Just a little bit of thin ice. Everything else is frozen solid. The bridge is a beautiful spot.
Now from the bridge, you have two options. You can head into town, which is what I did, and get some hot chocolate there and stuff, or you can stay along Silver Lake, and that's a really nice trail. And I decided to go into town because I wanted to go next to the river and see all the waterfowl, which at this time of year is kind of a cool thing to see.
So the edge of that hill there is actually the edge of a volcano, more specifically a caldera. This all used to be one huge volcano, in fact, the Yellowstone volcano. You're going to enter the little village part of the ranch with the stables and the horse corrals filled with horses in the summer. I don't know where they are in the winter. But over here is where the cabins are. And this is where Harriman himself used to stay when this was his private property before it became a state park. Here are the cabins. And they have like activities in here and hot chocolate and stuff like that. But I come here for the view. So this is the same river we were at beside before, except here the water is much more clear and you can see all kinds of geese and ducks swimming around, just like it's not freezing cold. They're crazy. All right, now that we're getting closer to the visitor center, way more people are present. Kids were young, this was the big hill. And we go up and down this hill like, I don't know, a dozen times. Their first big ski hill. Haha. Now they're all accomplished skiers.
It's nice just to take a moment and kind of admire the view and just really appreciate how beautiful this corner of the earth is. I love coming here and I love taking my time and just enjoying the view.
This bridge used to be really small, and then this year they made it really broad and good. It used to be kind of sketchy. There's no railing. Now there's a railing. I feel much better now than I did before. So that's it, the big loop at Harriman State Park. 9.6 miles, a lot of variety in terrain, a lot of variety in views. I mean, really, this is really difficult to imagine how it could be much better than this for Nordic skiing.